In the whimsical town of Everglades, nestled between fields of candy floss and chocolate rivers, lived a young girl named Alara. Unlike most kids her age, Alara wasn't interested in sweets. She didn't like the taste of them and would much rather spend her time exploring the meadows outside the town. One day, while skipping through a sunlit clearing, she noticed something peculiar. A tiny house, no bigger than a teacup. Curiosity piqued, she approached the dwelling. Suddenly the door swung open and out popped a squirrel in a waistcoat, looking flustered. "Oh, dearie me," he exclaimed, "you've found my secret hideaway. Now my precious acorn stash will be lost forever." Alara couldn't help but giggle at the squirrel's dramatics. "Lost forever? How can that be?" The squirrel sighed dramatically. "Well, you see, there's this terrible curse on our town. All of us animals can speak and wear clothes, but we lose our voices and clothes when the humans come. Only a pure heart and a sweet tooth can break the spell." Alara frowned. She liked her animal friends just the way they were, talking and wearing clothes. "I'm not much of a sweets person myself," she confessed, "but if it'll help everyone, I'll try to find someone who can." With a grateful nod, the squirrel disappeared into his waistcoat pocket. Alara knew just the person, her friend Milo. He was known for having the biggest sweet tooth in town. As she skipped toward home, humming a little tune, Alara thought about how strange it was that she had never seen any wild animals in Everglades. Every creature she had ever encountered was tame and friendly. A sudden realization dawned on her. Was the town's obsession with sweets somehow connected to the curse? To confirm her suspicions, Alara decided to ask Old Man Willow. Willow was the oldest resident in Everglades, and his wisdom was renowned throughout the land. His house was filled with trinkets and gadgets, and a bubbling cauldron hung over a crackling fire. "Old Man Willow," she began, "why do all the animals here seem tame and friendly?" The old man stirred his potion with a gnarled finger. "Ah, yes, the price we pay for peace," he said with a sigh. "Long ago, we struck a bargain with the Shadow Weaver. In exchange for eternal peace, we gave him our wild nature. But now, our forest is dying because of the Shadow Weaver's greed. No wild creatures enter anymore, and the balance of nature is fading." Alara gasped. She understood now. The Shadow Weaver had cursed the town so that its people would only care about sweets, trapping them in a cycle of pleasure without realizing the beauty of the natural world around them. Determined to help, Alara raced to the town square where a huge festival was in full swing. Tents made of spun sugar stood in place of houses, and rivers of chocolate flowed instead of water. She spotted Milo making a beeline for the fountain, which was shaped like a giant lollipop. "Milo," she called, catching up to him, "we need to talk." But Milo just waved her off. "Can't talk, Alara. I'm in the middle of an important chocolate tasting," he said with a mouthful of candy. "Chocolate tasting? Important?" Alara couldn't believe her ears. Was her friend really too busy to listen? Frustrated, she stomped away, accidentally stepping on a stray cat. Startled, the cat hissed and ran off. Alara sighed. Even the animals seemed enslaved by their sweet cravings. Just then, a small voice piped up. "Excuse me, are you lost?" Startled, Alara looked down to see a tiny mouse wearing spectacles perched on her shoe. "I'm not lost," Alara replied cautiously. "And what are you doing in a place like this?" The mouse adjusted his spectacles. "I'm on a very important mission," he said, puffing out his chest. "A mission? What kind of mission?" The mouse leaned closer and whispered conspiratorially, "I'm here to steal some cheese from the great cheese wheel. Do you want to join me?" Intrigued, Alara followed the mouse through the bustling crowd until they reached a towering wheel of cheese guarded by two burly guards. The mouse explained that the great cheese wheel was so large that it attracted all sorts of vermin. If we can sneak past these guards and reach the top, we might find some rare and delicious cheeses, he whispered excitedly. Alara hesitated. Stealing didn't seem like a very nice thing to do. But then she remembered the squirrel and the dying forest. Maybe if she could replace the townspeople's endless supply of sweets with something else, like cheese, they might have a better chance of breaking the curse. Just as the mouse was about to make his move, a loud voice boomed across the square. "Halt, thief!" Startled, the mouse froze. Alara turned to see an elderly badger charging towards them. "Get away!" she yelled at the mouse, realizing he had been caught. Taking a deep breath, Alara stepped forward. "I'm sorry," she said to the badger, "but why did you want to stop him?" The badger blinked in surprise. "Stop him? Why would I want to stop him? Because he's trying to steal some cheese," Alara lied, hoping the badger would understand. "Ah, yes, the cheese," the badger said, scratching his head. "I completely forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me." With that, he ambled away, leaving Alara and the mouse alone. The mouse looked at her with gratitude. "Thank you for helping me," he squeaked. "You're welcome," she replied with a smile. "Now, do you know how I can get some cheese into the town without anyone noticing?" The mouse nodded. "Follow me," he said, leading her behind the bustling crowds. They soon arrived at a cozy cottage with a thatched roof and smoke curling from its chimney. The mouse knocked on the door 3 times. A moment later it opened to reveal a kindly-looking field mouse. Come in," she said with a warm smile. "It's so good to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you." Alara blushed. Thanks. But why?" The field mouse chuckled. "Because you remind me so much of my daughter Ella." "Oh, where is she? It's time for her shift." As the field mouse bustled about, arranging plates of cheese, Alara couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity. It was then that she noticed a framed picture on the wall. It showed a young girl who looked strikingly similar to Alara. Could this be her mother? Overwhelmed with emotion, Alara rushed over to the table and embraced the field mouse. "You're my mother," she whispered. At that moment, the cottage door burst open, and a young mouse with the same spectacles as before came bounding in. "Mother, I finished my shift early," he said, "so I brought you some fresh berries." "Oh, and who's this?" He looked at Alara with wide eyes. "This is my sister," the field mouse said with a gentle smile. "And this is your friend Milo," Alara added, gesturing to the young mouse. Milo's face lit up with recognition. "Alara, you came to rescue me," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. She nodded, her eyes shining with determination. Together, they replaced the endless supply of sweets in the town with cheese, crackers, and fruit. As the townspeople enjoyed their new treats, Alara couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they were finally free from the Shadow Weaver's curse. The next morning, Alara woke up feeling refreshed and happy. She skipped to the window and gasped in delight. Outside, she saw all the townspeople playing and frolicking in the meadows with the animals. The forest was alive with birdsong and laughter, and the sight brought a smile to Alara's face. She knew that the Shadow Weaver's curse had finally been broken, and as she joined her friends in the great outdoors, she realized that the greatest adventure was the friends she had made along the way.